Hello, Scarefest. This is Joe Lewis at Bonehead Weekly. Now, I was given special instructions when I took this job that I could either do new releases or classic movies that I think you should watch. Well, I've got neither this week, but I do have a movie I think you should watch. It's just hard to use the C word. Not that C word, classic. It's Lifeforce. How many of you out there have seen Tobe Hooper's movie Lifeforce? Well, Tobe Hooper's the guy that gave you Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's the guy that gave you Poltergeist, supposedly. Tune in to Bonehead Weekly. We talk a lot about that. I am a fan of his work, even though a lot of it is not very good. So it's based on a novel by Colin Wilson called The Space Vampires. And it is a brilliant, it really isn't. I tried reading it several years ago. In fact, if you looked over here, if I panned over, there was a chair, it's no longer there, that the paperback version of Lifeforce, Space Vampires, the book it's based on, held up that chair that I threw away last year for many, many years. Could never finish it. Didn't care for the book. The movie's written by Dan O'Bannon and I almost forgot, Don Jacoby. Now, Dan O'Bannon gave us Alien. He directed and wrote Return of the Living Dead. This movie's batshit nuts. It stars Steve Railsback. It was a huge film made by Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus. And if you don't know who they are, they ran something called Cannon. There's a great documentary about Cannon, and it's called Electric Boogaloo. They've done a ton of movies in the 80s, a lot of them with Chuck Norris. So Halley's Comet is coming back. They send a manned mission to explore it. They find out that there's this derelict spacecraft in there, right? And in it are space vampires. They spent almost $30 million in the 80s on a movie called The Space Vampires that eventually became this, called Lifeforce. John Dykstra did the special effects. If you don't know who that is, he did Star Wars special effects. This movie looks incredible for 1985. Go back. It had everything except the plot, a screenplay, a director with vision, a leading man, because we had Steve Railsback. If you don't know who that is, he shot the fame. He played Charles Manson in Helter Skelter, the famous TV movie from the 80s. He is in the 70s. He is in a movie I do like, if you ever get a chance to check it out, called Stuntman with Peter O'Toole. That being said, space vampires. So he gets back. The ship gets back without him. He comes down later in an escape pod. The more I tell you, the more it's just going to get confusing. They basically suck the life force from you, these space vampires. And the lead space vampire is a beautiful creature played by Matilda May, topless and bottomless for the most part all throughout the movie. Okay, I know I'm going to be really sexist here, but it is worth it just to see Matilda May. She's quite a person. She's quite an actor. And it must have taken a lot of self-confidence, and she has it, to do the movie topless. I'm not joking. Almost 90% of the time Matilda May is in this movie, she is topless. I belong to a secret group, and I'm not making this up, called Secret Satans. And what it is, it's like Secret Santas for horror fanatics. And anyway, we send each other presents, and you have to put a wish list. And the only thing I could put on my wish list was the steelbook version of this, and I got it. It's just so stupid, though. They're space vampires. They kind of turn them into zombies towards the end of the third act, and the streets of London are just running wild with zombies. But why are they zombies now? Because aren't they vampires? There's some fantastic practical effects in it. Fantastic practical effects. You have to watch it just to see how batshit crazy it was and how it ever got made. And they spent a fortune on it. A fortune. Google it. Thank you. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Check out Lifeforce, Tobe Hooper's forgotten movie. Check it out.